The member for Hinkler.
We are one people, we are one country, and we are all equal. For we are one and free, Mr Deputy Speaker. I will be voting no to this legislation. I will be voting no to the proposed changes to the Constitution, and I will be campaigning for the no side of the case. For me, this is a values-based decision. I believe all Australians are equal. Not that some Australians should have a different level of democracy or a different approach to democracy, and not that one group of Australians has different rights to others. It is a fundamental tenet of this country that we are all one people, and based on those values is what I've used to make a decision in the terms of this legislation and the proposal that's been put forward by the Labor Party. Now, we recently ran a survey in my electorate. We are still accumulating all of the inputs of many thousands of responses. But to date, we asked the question whether they would support this proposition, and 62% of respondents said no, 27% said yes, and 10% were undecided. And I would say to the Prime Minister and the Labor Party, the voters aren't mugs. They are not. They want to see the detail. They understand that this is a significant change to the Australian Constitution. It's not just a piece of legislation. It's not a code of practice. It's not a guidance note. It is a significant change to the most important document in this country, and they genuinely want to know. They want to know what difference it will make. They want to know what it will cost. They want to know how it will work. They are not willing to vote on the vibe, on the feeling, on how it will make them feel on the day that they take the decision. They absolutely want to see the detail, and that detail is simply not being provided. Mr Deputy Speaker, in recent weeks, this has been a topic of great interest right across the country. I talked to a lot of people, as do others. I met with a constituent. His name's Peter. I don't want to identify him in total. Peter's an incredibly successful local businessman, in fact runs multiple businesses in one of my regions. I didn't even know he was an elder of a particular tribe. I just simply didn't know. He was just the guy that ran this business who I got on with well, came in to have a chat about this issue and some others. And his advice was really, really straightforward. We just have to work together. He is opposed to the voice. He won't be supporting it. And it's as simple as that. We have to work together because we are one people. How on earth can you not create division, which is exactly what is happening right now? A lot of speakers already have spoken about the 1967 referendum. That was 2 years before I was born, Mr Deputy Speaker. I wasn't even a twinkle in the eye at that stage. So I thought I should probably do a little bit of research and see what it was about. And I've done that. And there are some incredibly, in my view, powerful images associated with the 1967 referendum. And some of the ones in particular. They were holding signs like this: count us together, make us one people, give us equal rights throughout Australia. And those images, those signs are held by young individuals. How is it possible that there is now a proposal to divide the nation, to make one group of Australians different to others? I just find it unacceptable. But the Australian people will make that decision. I want them to be informed. I want it to be an informed decision. It is up to them. Like everyone in this place, I am just one vote. But this is an incredibly important decision. And as I've said, we continue to see division, and it is growing division. And I refer to a report in The Australian, an op-ed by Noel Pearson on the weekend, on the 20th of May. And I just want to quote a couple of lines from that op-ed. The boomer readership of this paper is, of course, antipathetic to recognition. They are mostly obscurant and borderline casual racists in their views. Seriously. The change that is needed to secure recognition of Australia's First Peoples is happening beyond that group of boomers who want this to be about culture wars. The problem is that too many party activists and parliamentary candidates and members of the Liberal National parties want to recreate American Australia. Nothing is further from the views of the Australians I know. They are proud of our country, incredibly proud. They're proud of our history, they're proud of our culture, they're proud of where they came from and how they arrived here. And so no matter what your connection is to this country, Mr Deputy Speaker, whether it's a cultural connection, whether you have relatives on the First Fleet, whether you were born here, whether you arrived last week, whether you took the oath of citizenship yesterday, we are all Australians and we are all equal. And the idea that we have sporting bodies, for example, telling Australians how to vote, I don't think they'll wear that. They know this is important. They know this is important. We have Marcia Langton saying that if you don't vote yes, there'll be no more welcome to countries. Well, I'm not being facetious. I have no particular view. But I saw an inrush of calls and correspondence saying that's fantastic because they are over it. The mob are over it. They are quite happy for where there is a culturally significant event for these to occur. But the idea that it's at every P&C and every meeting and everything else, it's just too much for them. And they actually warmly welcomed that, which was quite surprising even to me. And if we look at the legal opinions, now many of us in this place, I'm not a lawyer, Mr Deputy Speaker, many of us in this place have dealt with legal opinions over a long period of time. They are costly and generally they are different and quite often they're not right. And there is a broad range of views on what the proposed changes to the Constitution will do and how it will change the way our nation operates and the Government of Australia manages this country. And I am particularly concerned about the proposed changes that include the executive. Having been a member of the executive, having seen what happens with activists, how people utilise the legal system to shut down important projects in this country, I am very worried, and as many of us know, and has been outlined by any number of well-recognised specialists, that won't be determined until there's 10, 12, 15 years of case law. And in the meantime, the country is absolutely held up, held back at a time where we need to be strong and we need to move forward. And if we look at the budget, Mr Deputy Speaker, $346 million over 3 years. Most of the Australians I know would say, well, why don't we take that $346 million and take it to the Alice Springs and help them with what is happening there, which is absolutely terrible, awful, youth crime, lawlessness, unlawful behaviour, where they actually are desperately crying out for help. But instead, $364 million will be spent on a referendum asking the Australian people to do something which splits the nation. It doesn't unite us, it divides us. And I'm very, very disappointed about that. I do want to acknowledge the work of Pat Conahan, the member for Cowper, and of course, in the other place, Senator Jacinta Price and others who have been working incredibly hard, as have many others. And I recognise, like everyone, that there will be different views. It is the purpose of the referendum. But they've been involved in the committees, they've been involved up front, and there will be different groups with different ideas and different outcomes. But ultimately, Mr Deputy Speaker, it is a binary choice. You will vote yes to change the Constitution and entrench all parts of what's being proposed, not what's being advertised, not what's being seen on TV, but all parts of all words that are in this bill, all parts. Or you vote no, to remain united, to remain one country, to remain one people. That is why I'm so strongly supportive of the no case, because I think it is just so critical to the country that we do not divide the nation. If we go back again to 1967, that was the ask. Count us together, make us one people. One people. For those of us that live in the regions, Aboriginal people are part of our local community. We don't see them separately. We don't see them as different. We just see them as part of everything that happens every day. And whilst there are significant challenges, particularly in remote communities, that's not all Aboriginal people. Most are incredibly successful. They work hard. They pay wages. They pay their taxes. Many pay wages. Many are in business. They're no different to any other Australian. But the idea that the nation will be separated because of an outcome of this referendum, I am absolutely opposed to. But it is up to the individual. It is up to the Australian people. It is up to them. And I'll go back to where I started, Mr Deputy Speaker. The voters of Australia are not mugs. They want the detail, and if it's not provided, then suspicion will win. They will vote no. They will. The voters of Australia want to see what the change will mean. They want to see what it will cost. They want to see how it will be implemented. They want to see what difference it makes to the nation. And the idea that you should just vote yes on a feeling is the wrong approach to a referendum, which is why, in my view, it is likely to be defeated. Likely to be defeated. So, Mr Deputy Speaker, the Australian people will make this decision. We will all play our parts. We will do so with respect. We will be very, very careful, but I continue to be concerned about the division that this will place on our nation. And we see it over and over and over and over. So I'll leave my remarks there, I'm assuming the honourable members are ready. But to all Australians, we are one people, we are one country, we are one and free. Vote no at this referendum.